Hey, what is going on, guys? Rudenell here, come back at you with another batch tutorial. And you know, I could be wrong here, but I think I'm more than a little positive that this is finally your last string function tutorial video thing. We've been doing a lot of these, and hopefully this is the very last one. I think this little mini series, or probably major series at this point, is coming to an end. But this one is we're definitely going to end with a bang because this one is a little bit more complex. This uses a lot of our functionality and a lot of things that we've learned, and it's definitely pretty crazy. So anyway, I'll get CMD ready. I'll bring this right down for you guys, and I'll get Notepad++ ready as well, so we can actually get started. Because this is going to actually be a tutorial on how we can swap the case of a string. Because normally we've been changing strings to uppercase, we've been changing strings to lowercase. Now what we want to do is actually just swap the cases. Everything that's initially lowercase will become uppercase, and everything that's initially uppercase will become lowercase. So it is going to be very, very hectic. But anyway, I am going to have to make a couple of sub-functions here, so I'm going to create a main function to worry about and that sort of thing. But before we do any of that, I do want to show you the syntax, because what we're going to do is we're going to call string swapcase. This is going to be the string variable that we're going to be working with, and then we're going to have a return function, return variable anyway, as always. So now inside of our main function, the first thing we're going to be able to work with is actually creating ourselves an array of all the letters that we're going to be working with. So, in fact, we want both uppercase and lowercase letters together because we only want to make like one array to keep this kind of easy and simple to work with. So I'm just going to call mine alphabet, and it's actually going to have both the uppercase and lowercase letters. Uppercase are going to come first in my case, though. So A, B, C, D, and now we need all the lowercase. E, G. Alright, so I do believe that's all of them. I guess we'll find out soon enough, though. Now we're going to want to call createString and actually turn the string that we've been passed to the program, turn that into a variable that we can use. And we're going to need some limits because we are, of course, going to be looping. So set limit to equal content length -1, and we're going to need our -a tag for the set command because we're using some arithmetic here. And then alphabet limit can just be the size of the alphabet, subtract 1. Now we're going to be using a new string, and that new string is something that we're going to end up building as we go along and loop through every single piece of the string that we've been passed. So this is actually going to eventually become our return variable, but for now we're just going to set new string to equal absolutely nothing. So make sure there's no space or anything after it. It should be just a blank line right after the equal sign. Now we can begin to loop. We can do for-l g in count up to our limit. And we'll set a character, so we do that all the time. And what we're going to actually be working with is a variable that we're going to need to maintain and keep track of that will determine whether or not we've found any alphabet characters or not, anything that we've been changing the case of. So we're just going to set one variable found and set that to false. This is just a string. It could really mean anything. We just want to be able to know and work with it later on. But for now, that's all you need to know because it's going to come in very much it's going to be really handy when it comes in later. So for-l, we're going to loop through the alphabet now. So we'll use h, a new variable, because we don't want to use g over again. So we want to use in the set of 0, 1 up until the alphabet limit. And then we will do. And here's what we'll test for stuff. We'll test if the character is equal to the current position in the alphabet. So alphabet with the index of h. Then that means it actually is a letter. So we need to be able to tell which kind of letter it is, though. But since the alphabet is has a length of 26 characters, we're able to determine which side of the alphabet it's on, or whether or not it's an uppercase or lowercase letter, because of that number 26. So that's kind of like our special number and how we're actually able to work with things in this tutorial or in this video. So we're going to test actually if the current position in the alphabet is greater than or equal to 26. Because if it is, then that means it's a lowercase letter. So we can set the lowercase form of it to equal h minus 26, and we're using the arithmetic operator here because we're going to be getting the other side of it. We're swapping the case. And now we're going to call a special function that we're going to create up top because we actually want to have access to this lower variable and set it up as an index inside of our alphabet array. So we need to be actually creating something new like a set character subroutine or function, and we can pass the actual string of this variable into it here. So lower. And what we'll do up top is go ahead and create a set character label. And what that will do is it will set new string to equal the value of new string with the value of our argument that we pass to it. So in our case, when we're passing alphabet lower, new string gets a new formation because the actual value here of the alphabet lower version is being appended onto our new string, which will eventually become our return variable. But then we can go ahead and set found to equal true because we know that we have found it. Now we're actually going to want to test for the other end. So we can test if the current position is less than or equal to 26. Because if it is, that means that upper is going to equal h plus 26. You can see we're just working with the reverse end of things. We pass in upper, and that's really all I have to worry about because we still set found to true. So now when we're actually not looking through any of this, we're outside of the outermost for loop here, or innermost for loop anyway. Well, we can test if we found something. So if found is equal to false, so if we haven't found something actually, we can actually set new string to equal new string with the character added onto it. So this is on the off chance that this isn't a letter. So if it's like a space character or an exclamation point or a number, it'll still add it to the string because we still want that. We just want to be swapping the case of any uppercase or lowercase letters. So at that point, we're practically done here. We don't have to go to anything. We don't have to break out of the loop. But once we're at the end of everything, what we actually want to do is go ahead and set our return statement or return variable to equal new string up until the point of the last character. So we're going to start from 0 and go until -1. So that's a little bit strange because it for some reason adds another character on that, but we don't actually want to have to worry about that. So we just sort of kind of ignore it, and that's the way we work with things. But if I were to create a new script now and I call this script.bat, this is of course a typical script as usual. Now if I were to create an array, a string full of lots of random characters, that can be like any thing, we'll still want to be able to test whether or not these will actually swap the case or not. So we'll call string Swapcase and pass in our string variable. And we'll have a return, and we can echo out the value of the return variable. Now if I get CMD open and I go ahead and run our script, you can see that everything has swapped its case. And we still have all of our numbers. Just anything that's an uppercase character will become lowercase, and anything that's a lowercase character will become uppercase. And it is a little bit slow, especially if you have a longer string, but if I were to just say, like, maybe John Hammond or something, and it will reverse that, John Hammond, and it looks like it even subtracted that because I had second in there? Alright, no. We might need to... Maybe we can even use the entire string. Let's find out. John Hammond. But after more... Oh, it looks like that still works too. Awesome. So we can use the entire string here. This might vary depending on some things that you're working with, because this has acted a little crazy for me when I was testing it prior. But hey, this is how you can use it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, because this is definitely pretty useful, and it really is some nice functionality and something that we might need later on down the line. So in case you ever want this, you now have the functionality to swap the case in any of your strings. Thanks again for watching though, guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.